So recently I came across this website called exa.ai, and it's a really interesting website. Basically, you can sign up for free. I think they give you something like 500 credits. And what you can do is you can build lists, like email lists or like CRM lists of any type of company that you can think of, right? So if you wanted, let's say, a tech startup that's hiring in the US, you can actually search this database. But more importantly, you can actually export the results into CSV. And what that means is you can do some really cool stuff with it, okay? So stick around to the end of this video. I'll show you how to build an entire automation end-to-end that will take these leads. It will find their email addresses. It will do some background research using Perplexity. It will take that research, create an email personalization, and then automate the entire thing using Instantly, okay? So before I get started, do me a huge favor, subscribe to the channel. Let's go. The website I'm using to do the scraping and to find the leads is called exa.ai, okay? And they have a very interesting kind of sub website called websets. And basically websets is just a way of, creating lead lists, okay? Searching for perfect lists, okay? So go ahead and sign up to exa.ai. They have a free trial, so I think you get something like 500 credits to get started, okay? So typically, like, you can describe the kind of list that you want, okay? Now, what's great about this is that you can use AI to refine it. You can use AI to do the enrichment, and I'll show you exactly how to do that, okay? So for the purposes of this video, I did a search earlier today, and I was looking for tech startups in the US hiring for sales and business development. Okay, so let's change that from and or. So tech startups in the US hiring for sales or business development, okay? Because I'm gonna pitch these companies a better alternative, and I'll show you exactly how I'm gonna build all of this together, okay? So let's just do a search and see what that comes up with. You can refine it even further. So, companies, you can add locations, currently hiring, etc., etc. But let's just do a search and let's just see what that comes up with. So you can see here that it's gonna bring up a bunch of companies, right? Tech startups, essentially. And it's gonna have the URLs. Is it a tech company? Basically all the kind of filters that we added in the search. But I'll wait for that to finish. And you can see there's some other stuff here. Currently hiring as well, so that's tech, that's checked, so that's good. And then we can add enrichment. So what we could do is, it might be a useful idea to get founders, right? So let's do a generate for founders. And basically all this is an AI generation. It's basically prompt engineering using AI, right? So you're basically asking AI to create the prompt and to filter these research results and add a column for founders, okay? So let's just create that. And I think you can add 2 columns on the free plan, which is enough, okay? So once it's done, you will see that it adds the founders here, okay? So these are the founders. And this is gonna come in handy later when I show you exactly how to build the workflow. And one more step that I wanna add is the number of employees, okay? So let's just generate that, because some of these companies are like Apollo.io, okay, which is a tool that I use. I've actually created a video on it. So go back into the channel, find the Apollo video. It's another lead generation video, and it got some good responses, okay? So the problem with a company like Apollo is that they have like 1,000 plus employees, okay? So an organization that is that big is not gonna respond to you, right? So there's no point in trying to reach out to them, with cold emails or SMSs or whatever you want to do, right? So once this is done, you'll see it adds the number of employees, okay? And that's basically it, right? That's the search, okay? So I don't like this little bar thing on the bottom here. I think they could do the interface a little bit better, but that's beside the point, right? The main thing is that you get a bunch of leads from a bunch of companies based on your search criteria. So for mine, it was just tech startups in the US hiring for sales or business development, okay? The next thing you wanna do is download the CSV. Go ahead and download it. And then what you wanna do is you wanna basically pull it into Google Sheets, okay? So just create a Google Sheets, create a new file, and then just upload it. You can do that by just going into here, clicking on open, and then just select the CSV file. I went ahead and done that in the interest of saving time on this video, okay? So, and then what I've done is I've added I've resized it and I've added a headers and I made it bold. Okay. So some of these you could probably delete. I'm not going to do it because I'm just going to leave it in there, but you could probably delete some of these because they don't have all the columns that are included. Okay, so let's just freeze this top column. I'm just going to freeze it so you can see it when I scroll down, row 1. And then as I come down, you can see that the founder's name, it doesn't have the founder's name. So this is not going to work for this particular scenario, okay? And the number of employees, which is a filter that I want to propose that we use, okay? But it has got the domain. So the two most important columns for this particular automation and this lead generation system is the URL and the founder's name, okay? And then this is basically the automation, okay? So it's an Exa AI lead scraper. It uses Google Sheets, so it searches the rows. It will use find the email to verify the email, but it needs a domain name. It needs the name and a domain. Then it's going to use the research assistant in Perplexity. So I've trained Perplexity to basically find more information about this person, and then based off that information, that research, I'm going to create some personalization using ChatGPT. Okay, and then finally, I'm going to add the lead into Instantly, and I'll show you how to set up the campaign, and then you can automate the entire thing. So the first thing I want to do is want to create a new scenario, or in fact, let me just run this to show you exactly how it works. Okay, so I'm going to go inside of here. Let me just save this. I don't think I've got any leads, or I might do. Okay, let me just delete these, because I was testing this earlier before recording this. So let me just run this automation, okay? And you'll see exactly how it works. So just wait for the research assistant and the personalization. The AI modules are going to be the longest time, right? Because it depends on the number of leads that you have and also how much research it has to do, right? And that's obviously dependent on your prompts. So the first one's done, it's found the email. It's going through the second one, doing the research assistant, and it's obviously going to create the personalization, okay? And you can see here, we've got 2 leads. If I click inside this bubble, it'll show you who they are, and it's got the email addresses, okay? So if I head back over into Instantly, if I just come out of this, go back into here, you'll see they've come in here, and I've got the actual email addresses and all that, okay? And I'll show you exactly how to build this step by step. So let's just go through this now, and then I'm just gonna create a new scenario, and then we'll build this together, okay? So let's just wait for the tab to load. It's always a little bit slow when I'm recording these videos, for whatever reason, but yeah, it's fine when I'm working outside of this. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is bring up a Google Sheets row, okay, and you want to do a search rows, okay, and then just find the sheet. So wherever this sheet is located, just connect it up to the correct either Gmail or G Suite. Select Drive. The spreadsheet ID is gonna be it's just this thing here. So just grab this. Right, I've left it, I haven't formatted anything. So we can just paste that into there and then just grab one of these. I've got 2, it doesn't really matter. They're both the same kind of thing. And then the sheet name is just gonna be whatever the sheet name is. Okay, so because I exported this from Exa, it's just gonna have the sheet name and the file name is exactly the same. Okay, but if you did change this and if you did change the sheet name, just remember to select the right one, okay? Then does a table contain headers? Yes, it does, because I've got the rows, the headers in row 1. And then everything else, just leave it as it is, okay? Just gonna save that. And then just rename it. So if I go back to the original, I called it Search CRM. I just kind of see this as a CRM, which it kind of is, right? Like, it's not a typical off-the-shelf CRM like HubSpot, but it has got everything that you need in here. And you could add a status column onto the end to make sure, that if they've been contacted, you can actually update the automation here after the Instantly and then go back and update a column. You can do that, right? So I see it as a CRM, okay? The next module is gonna be Find Email. Okay, so Find Email is just an email enrichment platform. I believe they've got a free plan, so you can search for something like, I don't know, 50, 100 credits or something like that. And we're gonna go for the Find an Email from a name plus domain, okay? Connect it up to your G Suite Gmail, and obviously you're going to need the API key for that. So go into Find an Email, go to the API section. It's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go through that on this video, but I'll probably do a future video on how you can do that. Okay, so the full name is going to be I don't know if I've pulled it off here, the founder's name, and then the website is just the URL. Okay, we're going to need both of these. this over here, and then just save that. Okay, and remember to name it, give it a decent name. So I've just done find email. And then you want to add a filter, okay, before the next module. So the next module is going to be the research assistant. So for this, I've used Perplexity. I find that Perplexity works really well for research. I don't use it for anything else other than research. So find the Perplexity AI module. We're going to use create a chat completion. Connect it up to your Perplexity account. Again, if you don't have one, just go to, I think it's platform.perplexity.ai, sign up and just top up the account. You just need a couple of dollars in there. It's very affordable. And then get the API key and then connect it up here, okay? I'm gonna use Sonar for this. And then for the first role is always a system role because I wanna give it some context. So I'm just gonna copy it from this because I've already created it, but I'm gonna go through that with you. So the content is, you are an expert research analyst, if I can say it. Okay. And then the next one is gonna be the user role. So I typically set it up like this. Let's just copy it from here and I'll explain it why, and I'll explain why I've done this, okay? So let's just copy all this, paste that into content. Now you might not have job title, right? Which means that you got to run these modules, okay? So I want to save the credits. You can see I've ran it here. And so you can map those fields, okay? So if I go back into the research assistant, right, you can see that because I've run this module, I can get these fields and I can map it in there. So just all you got to do is just run the modules, okay? So each time you create a module, just run it. Just run that individual model. And I suggest that you do each module by itself, okay? Because it's going to be easier for you to isolate a problem, right? The last thing you want to do is build the entire thing and then run it at the end, right? Because you're going to have problems, most likely, if you're just new to this. Secondly, if you have problems, right, it's hard to isolate it, especially when the automations are huge, right? Because I've got automations that I built for clients that, use 100, 200 modules. Like, I'm not even joking. They're split across multiple workflows, but when you add it all up together, there's like 150, 200 modules, right? To build something like that, the debugging is going to take forever if you don't test it incrementally, which means that you build a module, you test it, you add the next module, you test it, and so on, right? That's what I recommend. It's going to make your lives a lot easier. Trust me on this. Okay, so here, if we go back into Perplexity module, did we save this? Oh, I don't think I saved this. Okay, let me just go back in. Let me just copy this again, just so we have it for reference. If you need to go back to this, remember it's a system role because we want context. And the next one is going to be a user role. And I'm just going to copy this from here. And so the content is conduct research for this person. I will be using the summary to create a cold outreach message. Okay, let's just copy that as it is. And then everything else you can just leave as the default. Okay, so save that. And then if we go back to the original, you see the next module is going to be a chat completion for OpenAI. And this is because I always use ChatGPT to do all my content creation, right? I might use other language models to do research and whatnot, but for the actual creation of content, it's always going to be ChatGPT for me, and it just works really well for me. Okay, so I just need to connect it to the correct API connection. I've got a few on here because I've built some client automations in there, and obviously they must have removed the key, right? So in terms of the model, I mean, I pay for ChatGPT, so I really like the 4.0 Mini. It gives me really good results. But you could do the 4.0 Mini system, which I think is this one here. It's very affordable. It doesn't use that many tokens. So if you are kind of topping up your account, with a couple of dollars here and there, this is probably going to be more cost effective for you. But I'm paying for it, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this, the 4.0 Mini system. So I'm on the monthly subscription, right? I pay $200 a month for this. And I use it for a lot of other things, not just for this. The actual mobile app is really good for ChatGPT. So let's just take the outputs, the prompts from here, because I've already built it, and I'll go through it step by step just to save a bit of time. Let's just wait for this to open up. So the first one, like I said, is always going to be a system role. So we head back here, add messages. The role is system, and then we're just going to paste that into there, okay? And then the next one is going to be a user role, and then we're just going to grab all this. Okay, and I'll show you exactly what I've done inside of here. So this one is gonna be a user role, and then we're just gonna paste this in here. So I'm gonna go from the top, okay? So your goal is to create a compelling, attention-grabbing opening sentence based on the recipient's LinkedIn profile, website, research, recent news, blog post, or a Google search, okay? So remember, we use the Perplexity module to do the research. Anything that's publicly available, right? So LinkedIn profile, websites, blog posts, Google searches, anything that this AI can do, we can pull that into the OpenAI ChatGPT module, and then we can basically create, more personalized content for that person, okay? And this is a prompt that I've used across multiple workflows, so I know the output's really good. The one-liner should be highly specific, making it clear that the email is not generic and was written for them. This is very important, right? Because this is the personalization aspect of the automation. If you know anything about cold outreach, cold emailing, or any type of cold, sales channel, it has to be personalized, right? The last thing you want that prospect to think is that you've just sent the same generic email to 10,000 other people, right? Because it's very obvious that it's a generic email. Like, I get it myself. Like, I get it in inboxes. I get messages on, direct messages on Twitter, on Instagram, and you could tell. You can separate the messages from people who've sent you a personalized message and taken a bit of time. Now that could be AI, and that's fine, right? I do that, but at least I've spent a bit of time trying to find information about me, versus a blanket generic response, which is so obvious, right? It's not even a joke. So here's the framework, right? Start with a personalized insight. So something recently posted, it could be anything, LinkedIn, it could be their blog post, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. We just let the AI take care of that. Make it relevant to my offer. So we're not going to discuss the offer, but we're going to make it relevant, okay? Relevant to my offer, automation, AI, Mail.com, or digital marketing. Keep it concise and natural, okay? So just add a space here. Avoid generic flattery. So I don't want it to be cheesy. Tone should be friendly, warm, and professional. Keep the personalization down to 100 characters or less. I don't want to have too much content because there is going to be other parts of the email that's going to be templated, right? And then do not include the first name in the personalization. That's because I'm going to split it out inside this flow, and you'll see why. And then respond in JSON only, okay? So use this format. So the format is personalization JSON, and you'll see why, okay? Now you want to give it some examples of personalization, okay? So if you follow me, you know that when it comes to OpenAI, ChatGPT, or any language model, you want to give it at least 3 examples. Now these are examples that I would have written myself, right? I actually did write these myself, right? Because this is based on my personality, my tone, my style, okay? And then the bits in the middle, you're gonna let OpenAI just fill in the blanks, right? It's just to give them like an overview, like a template. Okay, and then that's all done there. And then one thing you want to do is go into advanced settings, and then the text response, the response format, you need to change it to JSON, okay? JavaScript. I think it's object notation, right? So basically, the reason for that is we are telling OpenAI that we want the output to be in JSON, right? We're going to create a variable. The variable is going to be called personalization. And then you see these brackets in here. It's going to use the personalized field to basically output that, okay? And then that's it. That's all you need to do, right? And you want to pass the JSON as well, because passing the JSON just means that you can use the output, the personalization variable, later down in the flow, okay? You can use it from this point onwards. And then just save that. Okay, so if we go back to the original, that's the 4th module. And then the last module is just going to be Instantly. So I use Instantly for all my cold emailing. I get really good results with it. The main reason I like Instantly is because delivery is amazing. My open rates are like 40%. And you can add as many mailboxes as you want, right? They're not going to charge you more, which some other platforms are Reply.io, Smart Lead. They do charge more for the number of mailboxes that you add, okay? Because they obviously they're increasing the service, right? The perceived value. Just remember that if you are going to scale this strategy up, you want to send like hundreds, if not thousands, of emails per day. So having more mailboxes is going to be mandatory for you. Okay, so select Instantly, and then we're going to add a lead to a campaign. Okay, connect it up to your account. So this was mine. I've already created the API. I'm going to select the XAI Sales Biz Dev, which is the campaign I've created for this. The lead email I don't have, or I should actually, yeah, I could just take it from here. Make sure you remember to run the module so it's pulling the data through, like I did here. So I've got all that there. And so if I go into the original, you can see that I've got the contact email, right, from the find email module. Okay. And then the first name, we're gonna do a quick formula. Okay, so because the contact name is the first name and the last name, they don't split it, right? These, when you enrich emails, they never split it. They just dump the string into like the first name and the last name, okay? So what you have to do is you have to create a formula, okay? And it's very straightforward. So let's go through that. So the first one you wanna do is split, okay? So you wanna split it, you wanna split the contact name, right? Because remember, it's first name, last name, right? But you want to get, for the first name field, you want to get the first value, which is why there's a 1 here, okay? So what you want to do is you want to put the contact name, split, right? You want to put a space in there, and then you want to return the first value for the get function, okay? That's it there. Just pause this message, just make sure it's done in this format. That's it, that's all you need to do. Very, very straightforward, okay? Then you copy that, paste it into last name, but now we're going to get the second value, right? Because it's the last name. So for the first name, you want to get the first value. For the last name, you want to get the last value, right? But it's exactly the same formula. And remember, this is because most enrichment, email enrichment platforms will just return the string as first name and last name, right? They don't separate it. And that's the only reason why, okay? Company name, you can usually get that from here, company. Personalization is going to be from this one here, so the result. So if I go back to the original, because I haven't ran this, you can't see it, but you see this here? It's going to be, let me go to the output, so I'll show you the result. That's the variable, I've assigned it, right? And then impressed by sales boat debut in sales efficiency. AI could further optimize it, which is why I reached out, okay? Now you could make this a bit more interesting for the first line. This is not a prompting video, so I'll leave it up to you, but certainly go back into the create personalization module and just keep testing it. Just keep testing the outputs, right? Because you can keep sending these leads to instantly. You don't have to send it initially, right? Because this campaign is paused, right? So I can test things. I can test outputs before I turn the, I pull the trigger and send the emails out, okay? So you want to put the personalization variable here, which will come from this module here. Okay, right, so if I go into here, you'll see it. Here we go, result personalization. And then the contact phone number, if you want that in there, if you want the website in there, if you want to add that to your Instantly, because Instantly does have a built-in CRM, right? So you couldn't add all these fields if you wanted to. I've left it blank. You can also create a custom variable, right? So you can actually create, based on the outputs from Find Email, you can actually create a custom variable, okay? But I've left it as it is, like this. So let's just save this, okay? And then I'll go inside of Instantly. So you see this. So I've got 2 leads, which is what I ran earlier at the start of the video, right? So I've got 2 leads here. And this is what it will look like. So if we go to sequences, preview, hi Lavi, impressed by sales boat's debut in sales efficiency. AI could further optimize it, which is why I reached out, okay? And yeah, you can even add a subject line. So let me just go back into, looks like there's too many gaps, right? Improve, hasn't pulled in the company name. So let me just find out why. Maybe the variable is incorrect. Let me just see if it's there. Maybe I didn't bring it across. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's pulled across. So you can leave that as it is, and then just change, we'll just do something like this, right? Improve your bottom line or top line even, which is revenue. Improve your top line by 18,780 per month. Okay, so this is a subject line that I've used in the past, right? And this is basically based on the results that I've generated. And yeah, so this is what it would look like. This is the name, right? This is the first line. And then the rest of it, what you want to do is, if I go back into one of my other scenarios, I'll get the template out from there. In fact, let me just go into a previous sequence. I'll just take it out here, okay? So this is a campaign that ran. It did pretty good. And then we're just gonna take this and copy this and then go back into XAI. sequences, and then we're gonna template this. Okay, so the first two parts are personalized. This is now templated, right? So I know this might seem unexpected. I noticed that you're hiring for job title, which is a custom field for another campaign, but I'm gonna take that out. You're hiring on, and then inside LinkedIn, we're just gonna put in x.ai. Okay. Now you could make it more personal by pulling over the job title as a custom variable. You can do that inside of Make. So there is, let me just close this. There is a custom variable Make. If you remember, you can add a custom variable. So you can call it something like this, job title, and then the custom variable will just be from here, title. Here you go. You could bring that over, and then when you run it, it'll pull it into instantly. Okay, so you could actually pull that over. So yeah, I work with the Automation Kings, and we help companies generate an additional whatever the amount is, right? So just make sure that this is the same. So let's just do this in MMR on average, using highly personalized cold email campaigns. Our service typically costs about 1/7 of what it would cost to hire for the role you posted. And I'm confident I can deliver significantly better results. Just last month, I secured 9 sales meetings for business similar to yours. Now, make sure that this is true, right? Like I've actually done this. I've actually generated 19 sales calls, high intent sales calls. Doesn't seem like much, but honestly, out of 19, you only need like 2 or 3. Right, for the kind of businesses I'm targeting, right? That's going to generate a lot of extra revenue for these people. So I'm so confident that we can replicate these results for you that I'm happy to guarantee the outcome. If it doesn't work, you don't pay a cent. And I'll even throw in free beer for taking up your time. Like, that's up to you. You can do whatever you want. This one is a no-brainer. They will just sign up, right? Sound like a good deal? If so, I could jump on a quick call at 2 p.m. your time today or anytime tomorrow. Like, I don't know if that's true. Like, I mean, I'm in a different time zone, so it doesn't really matter. But the point is, it shows that you're flexible, right? It shows that you care. It shows that you've personalized this, but more importantly, it's not overly salesy, right? Like, I haven't included a calendar link, and that's the worst thing you can do. Never ever include a calendar link. Just let them tell you when they're available, or let them send you their calendar link, right? Because when you send your calendar link, it's a bit arrogant. They don't know who you are. Remember, you're talking to founders, you're talking to CEOs, presidents, right? They don't care about you, right? So the last thing you want to do is give them a calendar link, right? It's better for them to reach out to you and say, oh, here's my schedule, book something that works for you, and we'll discuss it, right? Or they come back to you and say, I'm available Monday to Friday, but only from 2 to 3 p.m., right? You can work with that information. You can set it up yourself. You can just go into your calendar. You can go into Calendly and just create it yourself. Don't ever let somebody in a position of authority or in a board or like a founder do all the heavy lifting. Make sure you do that, okay? This is my number one tip when it comes to cold email. So, yeah. So if anytime tomorrow, and let me know, and I'll send you my booking. See, it's a very minimal commitment, right? Now, most of the time, I don't even have to send them anything. They'll contact me, or their PA will contact me. Thanks for your time, Sanj. P.S. The approach I'm using to send this message is exactly the system I'd implement for you. Okay, so we can do B2B. I mean, there's lots of ways to do this. You could do B2B on Excel. You could do it on LinkedIn. I can scrape it. So if you see my previous scraping videos on Apify, I can scrape off Google Maps anywhere. It doesn't matter, right? The point is, I want to get them onto a call, right? So we're just gonna improve your bottom line. Let's just see what that preview is like. Okay, that's fine. So now you see, I've got the templated response, and the only thing that the only thing that the AI did was the first part, right? Now I'll probably make this a bit more interesting, a bit more comprehensive. This seems a little bit light, so maybe 2-3 lines. But again, just go back into the create personalization module and just test it, right? Just keep testing it. So hopefully this is giving you some ideas. If you are looking for clients, if you're struggling to get started, struggling to build up your AI agency, this is something you can build relatively quickly. Like, it's taken me less than 30 minutes. If I was building this without recording it, I could build this in 10 minutes because I'm very advanced in doing this, and this is what I do. So, go ahead, take this, swipe this, build it, and go find your first client. Okay, you're gonna find some really big clients. You're gonna be able to pitch to them your services. I remember they're actually advertising like 150, 200K a year for a business development manager or a growth strategist or a lead generation specialist, those kind of jobs, right? So before you leave, please like, comment, share this video, and most importantly, I can't do this without your support. So please subscribe to the channel so I can make these videos. And they take a lot of time. I have to find the content, I have to build the content, I have to script it, I have to edit it. There's a lot of work that goes into it. So your support means the world to me. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.